It's Wig Off Wednesday. Hi, guys. So listen here. I wanted to hurry up and get right to it. And then if you stay for like the end of the video, I have some like little announcements. So please stay. But I really wanted to come in here and talk about, and I couldn't wait to do it. I actually was gifted some equipment, and then I bought myself like a little ring light and all that stuff. And I was like, maybe I should just wait until I set everything up and then do this video. But it's just like, no, I want to get it out right now. So I have had a major revelation, like the type of revelation where like it feels life changing, the kind of revelation that feels like you can't know this, feel this, think this, hi boo, and then continue on the way that you were. And it may not be a revelation for everybody. Perhaps you've already arrived at this point in your life, and if so, congratulations. I'm just happy to be there myself. And if you have not, then hopefully this will help you get there. And hopefully you will feel at the end of this video the same way I do. And if you want to further engage with me about anything that I say, you are always welcome to email me at dearmissstevie@gmail.com. That's Dear Miss Stevie, DearMsStevi. So, at gmail.com. So I have always had trouble with believing in like the possibility for a certain level of like success in terms of like wealth, or even in terms of having like a super really happy relationship, right? The two major things I think that in this life we think about and we kind of talk about and people end up being really obsessed with is accumulating personal wealth and attracting a certain level of love. In fact, it's been something that I feel like so many people have written books about, particularly for Black women. And just it's like, of course you can make $1 million. Sorry. Of course you can make $1 million if you're writing a book about how to make $1 million and a million people buy it. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's a thing. And I've always been real like irritated, by that whole like market, because things just feel real unethical, to me. I feel like people leave out the important parts. I feel like people don't address the parts that are realistic, right? And speak to the system that we all live and work under. And so personally, I always had a hard time really kind of defining for myself what personal wealth and success look like in that arena, and defining for myself like what kind of relationship I want, particularly because a relationship is you and another person. So it's possible that that other person turns out to be something crazy and you have no control over that. And all of that is frightening to me. So even with all of my doubts and my hangups about these two subjects, like it was still something I thought about, because here I am living in this life. And of course I don't want to struggle. Of course I want a love of my own. And so what it all boiled down to for me is that like I really didn't feel like these two things were accessible to me. So remember I said that word, accessible to me, right? And so I was listening to several panelists. I'll have to get everybody's name and put them in the comments. But I follow Danielle Thomas of Unfit Christian, and am a part of her congregation. And as a result, I'm able to, and it's an online congregation. And as a result, I'm able to follow so many like really brilliant theologians and like people who really have an understanding of God, and just are able to speak to things in a way that maybe I never thought of before based on like their education and whatnot. And so it's not the first time I've listened into like different panels and discussions and things like that. And it's not the first time I've heard Black women say really wonderful and brilliant things about themselves and success and all of that stuff. It's not the first time at all. So again, I'm listening the other day to this conversation about being successful, and this conversation about what self-love and treating oneself like you want to be treated, and attracting like certain levels of success to you based on your inner work and what it is that you're putting out. And it was just really beautiful and all of that. But then my little sister, Valerie Boyer, decided to also include scripture about like wealth, right? And money. And at first I was like, I don't want to hear this, because as much as I love and respect her, I had such a hang up with the way people use God and use God to make money off people, use God to use religion to justify their greed. I didn't like how people make poverty or being poor or having a certain level of money like the fault of the person or a character flaw. They make it seem like it is a moral failing, when it's really not. It's really the system that we're in. And when she broke down about how in the scripture, like when we talk about God, but like the poor not supposed to be being poor, like you've probably even heard, and maybe even in some circles, people say it's not right to be poor, it's wrong to be poor, or something like that, and all of that stuff bothers me, right? And it's another beef that I've had with like religion. But when she was talking about how really the reason it's wrong to be poor is because we are living in a system that's evil. We're living in a system that would not have it, that you would have access, right? We are legitimately living in a system that we know is set up to continue to keep the rich rich and to continue to keep the poor poor. And then they create all of these rules and laws that are supposed to give you a blueprint for achieving some level of success, right? We're supposed to follow these guidelines and then we can get there. And and then they also put out there this idea of lack, that there's so few opportunities that you have to play it a certain way, right? So not only it's like almost like the slot is possible, but the slot that you're trying to get to, right, of the top rung is possible to reach, but it's only possible if you follow these steps and don't mess up. And if you do mess up, then the things that happen to you is just all your fault. And the reality of that system is a lie, right? That system is not true, and it's evil, and it's set up to keep us in this individual, like greedy, crabs in a barrel, like state of mind. It's set up that way. Like psychologically, the things that the psychological effect that the way that we do things has on people is very real. The stress level, the illnesses, the lack of sleep, this idea that you have to always be grinding and busy is unnatural. And then there's markets of, there's books and classes and a whole like ecosystem developed around how to grind, right? To make all this money. And the reality of all of that is just some BS. And when you access wealth, when you have a certain level of like blessings or healing or self-activation, self-empowerment, any of those things, when you have a level of success, right? And begin to define that for yourself and move past that, that is actually the way that things should be, and that you are in alignment. And so now there's this whole other market, right, for this spiritual idea of attraction and manifestation. And I've had issues with that before because there's so much information that's left out of that, right? It's almost like people are trying to sell you this easy 1, 2, 3 step thing. And it's never been that for me. And so I would be irritated. Like, what the hell are y'all talking about? But this particular day, when I recognized that all of the hangups I had was something that was happening to me, that's happening to everybody, and that when the opposite of those things happen to me, that is actually how it should be. And that if I believe that that's how it should be, and I keep getting answers and messages and encouragement, and I keep building my strengths and seeking out my purpose and healing and doing all of the things that actually uplift me and encourage myself and build me up, I began to notice a trend. I began to notice that the more I put doing what was best for myself, right? First, the more I was like, okay, this is really truly what is good for me. And when I look at things, and I want to talk about things being good for me, I'm not talking about things that are always pleasurable, right? Because there's a lot of things that are best for me that have been uncomfortable. Going to therapy and uncovering things that I'm insecure about and really getting to the bottom of that, and then putting into place other thoughts and patterns to change the way I react to stuff is uncomfortable and it's time consuming, but it's a blessing that I'm able to do it. And because I've been able to do it, I've been able to focus that energy on other things. I've been able to continue to perfect my craft because I no longer allow fear to stop me from getting in here and making these videos, whether one person or 1,000 people are watching. Thank you, Barbara. Like, regardless, this is my purpose. I'm living it out and I'm doing it fearlessly because I'm doing those things. Because I said I'm going to do these things because this is what's best for me and truest and most authentic to myself. When I started there, right, it drew me all the way up. It pulled me all the way up to the point where I still had to confront my hangups when it comes to like poverty and access to success and all of the feelings that I had about money and love and all of those things. Because at the end of the day, what it really boiled down to is I didn't think I had access to it. I thought that I had to achieve a certain level of education or to get the right job or to purchase the right clothes to weigh a certain amount. I felt like I had to achieve all of these things before I could obtain wealth or success or love or any of these. I felt like all of these other outside things were required before I could get anything. But the truth of the matter is that by me saying to myself, I'm worthy of empowerment, encouragement, and love, just by me deciding that I was worthy of those things, that is where I have found the keys to the treasures of everything else. Because I've made the decision to love myself, the things love now, because I've made the decision to love myself internally, right? Love now is around me and I'm better able to recognize it. And it's quite possible it's been there all along. And I may not have a romantic love, but I have love of some friends, supporters, family members, and I'm extremely blessed in that regard. And I've opened myself up to that love, right? When I consider success and define success for myself, I have noticed a growth in financial success. I've noticed a growth in opportunities flowing my way, but that's because I began to bet on myself. It's because I recognized my own value and because I no longer work for free, right? And so now I've set a standard for myself. And other people were recognizing if we want to do business with her, if we want to invest in her talent, it's going to cost us something because I am worth it. And I recognize that I have to do the same thing with other people. I have to recognize and pay for what they bring to the table and see that they're worthy outside of whatever else they can even do for me. I have to be able to recognize their humanity as being worthy and valuable the same way that I want other people to see that in me. So all of this stuff has started from within. And when I realized that because it starts from within, that I immediately, not tomorrow, have access to it. Not once I've achieved whatever level of success. Not once I've read the book and followed the 10 steps and drank 2 glasses of water. Not when I did any of those things. But when I decided that I had access to it. When I said I have access to it because it's within me, I literally have access. I literally, within a day of saying to myself and fully accepting that I too was worthy enough to have access to love and to success, because that is me being in alignment with what the spirit and the universe would have all of us be. There is enough wealth in this world, which is really just a concept that we've made up, right? There's enough for all of us to have access to it. There's enough for everybody to have. This idea of there being lack is a lie. This idea that we have to beat each other down and that you can only care about oneself is a lie. And the truth of the matter is there's a system in place that is deeply invested in keeping us all trapped in this mentality. And it takes us to wake up and recognize our worth to demand that the system now reflects our worth. The system should reflect the people. We should be the designers of the people, not somebody that already has all of the things that we are fighting tooth and nail for. People in Congress have free health care. Why is somebody that has free health care deciding on whether or not I'm able to access health care? If they had to go through what I had to go through, you better believe it would be some different things set up. But what they care most about is the bottom line, and not the bottom line for everybody. The bottom line for the few who have the money. Do I believe people should be paid for their art, their work, their intelligence, their effort? Do I think that they should be able to sustain themselves? Absolutely. But I also believe that if we were all able to live a certain lifestyle, to have access to monies, to be able to take care of ourselves, the advances, the businesses, the ideas, the science, the things that will flow out of that would be so much more abundant than what we have now. This is a trap. This is a trap. And me recognizing that this was a trap was also distracting me from my own ability to move through the truth. Because the truth set me free. The truth is, regardless of what system is in place, I still have access to freedom. I still have access to liberation. I still have access to wealth. I still have access to these things. There are going to be obstacles, and there are things that the system could throw my way. But I believe and I know that I also have the resources to meet whatever obstacle comes my way. And if I don't, then I know that somebody in my community has those resources. So I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be afraid. Period. So I came in here to just tell everybody, if you needed to know, you have access to all of the things that they write the books about. You have access to all of the things that you hope and dream for. You absolutely have access to it. Don't ever think that all of these things are holding you back. True, they could be legitimate obstacles. This is not to dismiss anything that we legitimately go through, because the way things are, like legally and policy and all of that, is absolutely set to keep you from having it. But I don't want you to believe wholeheartedly that means you can't. There's more than one way to skin a cat. We are brilliant. And if you lack the resource, somebody in your community has it. And we can get you there. If you're looking for a way out, keep looking. If you're looking for the light, keep looking. You will surely find it. You will surely find it. You will surely find it. So I'm here to just tell somebody today that freedom is absolutely possible, and that I'm no greater than you. The only difference between me and you probably is whatever God has put my purpose in. And hey, if your purpose is the same as mine, there is room enough in this field for both of us. There is room for both of us, period. So that was what was on my heart to say. And I want people to feel good. And this isn't one of those talks like, oh, read this, follow my guide. It's none of that. This is just me straight up having a revelation that I can at least have the things that are closest to my heart. Because if they're on my heart, that means I can have it. It wouldn't even be in my heart if it wasn't possible. I wouldn't have dreamed it. I wouldn't have thought about it if it wasn't possible. And this ain't no like fake, oh, this is possible, because I know the very real things that keep us trapped, that keep us down. Those are all very real. But I'm telling you, in spite of it, if you want the information, it's there. If you need something different, ask, seek. I promise you, and don't give up. And I promise you, keep going. And it's inevitable, because it's possible. The possibility makes all the difference. The possibility makes all the difference. And where I find proof of that is not the ancestors that had the big book deals, bless them too. Not the ancestors that bought the big house, bless them too. Not the ancestors that achieved whatever level of success in spite of all the things, bless them too. No, it's the fact that I, me, you are still here. Because there was a point in time when just surviving was the goal. There was a point in time when just surviving was the prayer. There was a point in time when just your children being healthy was the prayer. There was a point in time when just, if you could just get a good job, and be at least able to feed your children consistently. There was a time when that was the goal, y'all. That was the goal. And so every time I see us surviving, and I'm talking about in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a system that would kill us, that is actively seeking to kill us and lead us to our death, the fact that we survive lets me know that and more is accessible to me. That and even more is accessible to me. And if it's possible, that makes all the difference. And I'm telling y'all, that's why I say hope is powerful. That's why I say hope is powerful, because hope will give you that last minute injection into your veins that'll keep you going and keep you pushing, whether you can see the finish line or not. So that was it. That's my Wig Off Wednesday. Blew my mind. And I hope I hope what I'm saying hope what I'm saying to you is easily digestible. I'm hoping that what I'm saying to you has the effect that it had on me. I want you to see the possibility in yourself, because I promise you, I promise you it's possible. Anything that you seek in, it is the way it's supposed to be. You are not supposed to be out here destitute. And then once you realize that, it hopefully will make you angry, so that then we can start pushing for the type of change that reflects who we are as people, period. So that's me. I do have a show coming up on the 1st at Crafted Culture Brewery, which is the first and only Black-owned brewery in Columbus, Ohio. I hope to see you there. I will put the Eventbrite link in the comments. Also, my friend Camille wrote a book. It's called Satisfaction. I bought the book. If you have a book or something that you want me to talk about or show or share, please send it to me. And I will definitely talk about it. This is Satisfaction. Yeah. So anyways, that's it. That's it. Was that it? Yes. Stream my EP. I have my EP, Notes from the Margins, that is out everywhere. Please do, take advantage of that. And stream it. And then also I have a video for At First Sight that is on YouTube. I'll put the link for that in my comments as well. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please comment on the video. Share the video if you liked it. And then you can follow me at Dear Miss Stevie on Facebook, Dear Miss Stevie on Twitter, and Dear Miss Stevie on Instagram. And if you have anything else that you want to talk to me about, or you want to book me, it is dearmissstevie@gmail.com, DearMissStevi. All right. Hope is powerful, not just because the good Reverend told us it was, but keep hope alive. Keep hope alive, not because the good Reverend told us to, but because hope is powerful. Peace.